I often use the analogy for athletes or teams like it's following a band throughout their career. And it's always cool to see a band that you knew when they were like passing out cassettes out of their trunk, get a small venue, get that moment, pop a number one hit. All of a sudden they're at the Grammys playing next to like a collaboration with Aretha Franklin. And you're just like, I remember when, right? Tetairoa McMillan just got his first number one hit. Right? As Panther fans, we knew how good he was when he was getting 60 receiving yards on 4 catches, right? In an offense that threw for 130 in the game. We knew how good he was, even when, there was a drop or two, right? Just the move to get open or the catches that didn't count, right? The one-handed diving catch early in the season where there was a defensive pass interference. So they got and they ruled it incomplete on the field, and it wasn't worth it to challenge to say it was a catch, even though it was, because you already got the ball at the spot of the foul because it was pass interference, or the crazy catch where his foot was out of bounds. Like, we were the group. We knew how good he was. We watched. We were telling our friends in another town, no, if they tore, you got to go. Here, listen to this. No, you don't get to keep the cassette. Just put it in your car, drive around, give it back to me tomorrow. Like, we were that guy. Then, against the Falcons, he, popped off a bit, right? He had that number one hit. All of a sudden, he's on the radio. He's scheduling arena tours now. 8 catches, 130 yards, 2 touchdowns. Bryce Young was the NFC Offensive Player of the Week. And I'll say this about Bryce. Bryce's stats, crazy, right? And he's polarizing just because I said that. Just because I said, I'll say this about Bryce. Some of you are already angry. You're ready to fight. You don't even know which way I'm going with it. You're already you're building up your defense. I'll give you time. Go ahead, build the shield. No, I'll say this about Bryce, and this is as a former quarterback. Quarterbacks get all the blame, get all the credit. Oftentimes, there's a lot of stuff other people are doing to make you look good or bad, and you have to kind of get used to that. Bryce being NFC Offensive Player of the Week. A lot of that is attributed to Tetairoa McMillan and how they used Tetairoa McMillan. Now, that doesn't mean that, I don't know if that comes with a plaque or something, right? Like, Bryce will keep it at his house, right? Like he gets the hardware. But there's a lot of people that went into that award, and Tetairoa McMillan's one of them. And because they're getting that little bit of buzz, McMillan's no longer a secret. If you play fantasy football, I'm sure you see him climbing up all like the end of season rankings or rest of season rankings, whatever lists you look at. Here's what they did to blow up, right? Here's what they did to take the sound that we liked in a garage band, and they linked up with the right producer, and all of a sudden it's all hitting. They varied his role, his routes, his position, his skill set. They let him show off everything. They let him play in the slot. They let him go out wide, left, right, run out-breaking routes, in-breaking routes, vertical routes. They let him use option routes, I'm sure. Like they let him do everything, which is part of the reason you draft that guy. There's a lot, I don't want to say a lot, because just to be in the NFL, you're like the 1% of the 1% of the 1% of athletes, right? But there are a bunch of guys in the NFL as wide receivers that can do something, right? Think of NC State guy, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, right? Think of Wan'Dale Robinson. Do you know exactly in your head what they do, right? Marquez Valdez-Scantling takes the top off, right? He takes the safety with him. He runs downfield. Wan'Dale Robinson, what does he do? Well, he's probably running something within the 7 yards of the line of scrimmage, and he's working horizontally. There's a lot of guys that can do something. There's not a lot of guys that can do everything. Those guys are only as good as what you ask them to do. Think of the best, what does Jamar Chase do? What does CeeDee Lamb do? You could probably think of screens that they've taken 60 yards for touchdowns, deep balls that they've taken 60 yards for touchdowns, toe tap highlights, in-breaking highlights, run after the catch highlights. You can think of it all, right? Because they can do it all. They're asked to do it all. Now, put yourself in a defensive coordinator or a defensive player's shoes. You're guarding, I don't know why I'm calling Marquez Valdez-Scantling out. You're guarding Marquez Valdez-Scantling. What are you repeating to yourself when you're in your defensive stance? Don't let him get behind you. Don't let him get behind you. Don't let him get behind you. Don't let him get behind you.
He's fast.
When you're guarding like a true slot, you're thinking, stay in his hip pocket, right? Catch and tackle. Don't let him shake you. Catch and tackle. When you're guarding Jamar Chase, what are you saying? Oh, no, oh, no, oh, no, oh, no, oh, no. That's all you got because he can do it all.
Yeah, you're saying prayers at that point.
Tetairoa McMillan is that kind of guy. He's a different athlete, don't get me wrong. He's not running with the same, he's taller, he's bigger stride, whatever you want, but he can do it all. And the fact that was like the awakening, right? After that game, there's a clip going around. We may have even played it for you yesterday. There's a clip going around of Dave Canales in the post-game press conference explaining the different role that Tetairoa McMillan had. And it was basically like, if we can move him around, it's harder for the defense to guard him. And I'm going like, that's good. But it's not exactly reinventing the wheel, right? It's not exactly something new. There's this saying, the NFL is a copycat league. I think it expands to pretty much everything in sports. Sports is a copycat world, right? I can't tell you how many times in the last 10 years I've seen somebody run some variation of the Phillies special trick play. Why? Because we all watched the Super Bowl and went, that one was cool. And now every team has some variation of it. Dennis just informed me we have the Canales audio. So listen to this, and then I'll explain the reaction I've seen from fans.
It happened organically, Joe, and I'm glad you asked because that's something that we try to bring to life weekly. And again, as I've said before, we try to create a focal point of the pass game, knowing that T-Mac's going to get targeted in some way, shape, or form. When you create that, then you can kind of tilt the field a little bit and find other opportunities. And I was just fired up that we had the protection, first and foremost. It starts up front. They gave Bryce the time to get through his progressions to find different guys. There was a concerted effort to make sure that Xavier had some one-on-one opportunities, knowing we had a good matchup on that side. If A.J. Terrell was going to follow T-Mac, we were going to have some opportunities over there, and Xavier made some plays for us. And then also the other part was making sure Jalen Coker doesn't come out of the game with a couple of targets. He made some fantastic catches yesterday, played really physical to the ball, contested passes, and was able to find some separation. So I was really pleased with the.
That is great. That is good. That is grand. I agree with it all. Again, it's not reinventing the wheel, right? The way you get center of attention wide receivers open is move them around, right? I was talking about it being a copycat league. That you have a number one, okay? Let's just establish that. You have wide receiver one, T-Mac, Tetairoa McMillan, whatever you want to call him. I saw some people calling him Yak Millen. Well, yards after catch Millen, puns, whatever you want to call them, you have a number one. Don't let it be organic. Let it be intentional. Go look at how other teams get their number ones open and put those plays into your playbook if you don't already have them, or translate them into the terminology you use and be ready to run them. Go watch whatever it was, 2021 Cooper Kupp with the Rams. Go watch last year's Puka Nacua with the Rams. Go watch what they used to do with name your, like the Packers with Devontae Adams. Go watch. The blueprints are out there for you, no pun intended, but the blueprints are out there for you. He's that good. He is. He gets open. That's the hard part. Now you have the fun part. Right? The hard part is finding that dude. You drafted him. I'll even raise my hand, right? I don't pretend to have all the answers. I wasn't sold as maybe I should have been going into the draft on Tetairoa McMillan's ability. I think looking back, it was more the Arizona offense and maybe quarterback situation holding him back. But I didn't like his lack of consistency in college. It wasn't an every game thing. He would have a game with like 300 yards receiving and then a game with 40. And I didn't like that. And I watched it and I thought big Strider, I'm not sitting here saying I had all the answers. But I am saying you did the hard part. You bettered me. You drafted him 8th overall. You were convicted in your belief in a wide receiver. Now do the fun part, the creative part. Go grab the index cards. I always use Andy Reid as the example there. Apparently Andy Reid has little 5x7 cards, like just straight index cards, the ones we all use. Old school public speaking. You bring up the little index card, and he just anytime he has an idea for a play, he diagrams it right there on the card, and then he puts all the cards together, and it's like a thing, right? If somebody else has an idea, hey, put it on a card, and then if he's ever stumped or he's excited in the offseason, he wants to come up with something, he just grabs a card and sees if it's anything. Like, that's the fun part. Go watch whatever you want to watch with a good receiver on film and make a whole bunch of index cards. Because from this point forward, I want Tetairoa McMillan a big part of every game plan. And if a team wants to go ahead and stop Tetairoa McMillan with safeties over the top no matter where he is, even though you're moving him around and you're sending him in motion and you're having him run every different kind of route, if they're just putting a ridiculous amount of resources into stopping him, cool. Fantastic. Jalen Coker, Xavier Legette, running game, tight ends, anybody. Like that's the beauty of those guys. I'll use the in-state basketball example. When Steph Curry was at Davidson, and there was that one coach that decided Steph wasn't going to beat him, and he double-teamed him everywhere he went, so Steph went and stood at half court, and they put 2 guys out there with him, and then played 4-on-3 the rest of the game. Fantastic, right? That's using Steph Curry to get the win. If that's what they want to do, do it. But until they do, Tetairoa McMillan needs to be a ton of targets, big part of your offense. And if Bryce gets all the credit, great, right? That's how it works because quarterbacks always do.
Like you said, using him in all bunch of different places. How many times have we talked about teams playing the Panthers where, oh, look at that, CeeDee Lamb for the Cowboys last season playing in the slot, or Mike Evans, look at that, he's lining up in the slot, creating good matchups. It's not a foreign concept like you said, but it's nice to see the Panthers actually using that.
Think of how simple it is when you play the Panthers to not have J.C. Horn guarding their number one.
Mm-hmm.
You just move him to the other side of the field.
Yeah.
The Panthers, at minimum, have to be able to do – wait, we keep putting Tetairoa over there, and they keep guarding him with their best guy. I want to try something here. Let's put him on the other side and just see. Let's just see what happens. Maybe we'll get him on their second best corner, and I like that matchup. Oh, goodness. Genius. I'm making it more simple than it is. It is more complicated than that, but the basis of theory is right there.